Everything I had went up in flames, my lonely way. I don't wanna fight anymore. Just turn around and leave me. The tear in my eye drops on the floor alongside my speed. My knees are drenching in the blood I spill just to get in. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames, my lonely way. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames, my lonely way. I never pray to God anymore. I'd rather no one hurt me. Redemption, I have waited for you to come and drown all my sin. My knees are drenching in the blood I spill just to get in. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames. Everything I had went up in flames, my lonely way. I don't wanna fight anymore. Just turn around and leave me. The tear in my eye drops on the floor alongside my speed. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames. My lonely way. I never pray to God anymore. I'd rather no one hurt me. Redemption, I have waited for you to come and drown all my sin. My knees are drenching in the blood I spill just to get in. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames. Everything I had went up in flames. My lonely way. I don't wanna fight anymore. Just turn around and leave me. The tear in my eye drops on the floor alongside my speed. My knees are drenching in the blood I spill just to get in. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames. My lonely way. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames. My lonely way. I never pray to God anymore. I'd rather no one hurt me. Redemption, I have waited for you to come and drown all my sin. My knees are drenching in the blood Everything I had went up in flames. My lonely way. I don't wanna fight anymore. Just turn around and leave me. The tear in my eye drops on the floor alongside my speed. My knees are drenching in the blood I feel just to get in. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames. My lonely way. When I look around me, everything I had went up in flames. My lonely way. I never pray to God anymore. I'd rather no one hurt me. Redemption, I have waited for you to come and drown all my sins.
Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to you tonight as we head out to Paul Ricard here for the Raceface Season 2 Round 6 Grand Finale between the Pros and the Pro-Am division. We've got them all mixed up here, of course, out at the French circuit. Loved by some, hated by some, but I can promise you one thing, cars can definitely race one another here tonight. And you know what? We've got some championship proceedings that are up for grabs. Up in the Pro division, it's Junior McCall versus Mark van Rensburg, of course, the ATK Academy fighting out against Team Hulk. And then at the on the Pro-Am side of things, we've got Shavesh Bisoon versus Fraser Cooper and Chris Budnick for first, second, and third. They're separated by enough points that any victory coming out could see a podium switch up even for the lead up at the top. So, you know, it's all to play for. And right now we're into quali, and this is what it all counts for. I mean, 20 minutes, it's a decent enough quali length for you to get a good lap in. And the drivers out here today going to be looking to make some room, get themselves some fresh air. And this man, Arno Versace, a man to always keep an eye out on. He brings this KTM crossbow up and always impresses us somehow. So I always like to follow along with good old Arno here from the Retro Esports Rainbow team. Good driver to keep an eye out on, and we'll get a little look down his front splitter coming down this Mistral straights, and along straights, enough time to really have a think about what you're doing on the circuit. And Arno now chucks it into Cygnus, fast right-hander in the GT3s and the GT4s. Again, just kind of trying to keep an eye out for losing the back end. We're going to start to see what the quali times look like, as it looks like Arno will maybe be one of the cars to set one of the opening times. Not quite sure. Jumped in a little bit later than I normally do into the quali, so gonna have to see who's gonna come out, and maybe if we pull up a track map, we'll be able to see maybe the 222 of Terence Ferreira might be the first car to set a time. So we're not 100% sure. We will see the timing sheets as they come up. So let's just see what Arno does when he crosses the line here. I think they're just on their first out laps. Maybe no, that was a flying lap. So 204.722 going to come out for Arno Versace to start things off. And it will be a 205.252 from Junior McCall. So a little bit off the pace there. Half a second is Junior McCall off the back of Mr. Versace in that KTM. But it's early days during quali, and things could still change up. Well, I mean, say they could, they will. And definitely expect a big change up. Chris Budnick coming up from the Pro-Am class, setting a blistering time coming out. So he's 2.6 seconds off. Of course, there is a difference in the Pro and Pro-Am paces, but Mr. Budnick is going to get some times in there, as are a couple of the Pro-Am guys, the number 59, 69, and 777. So that's going to be Budnick, Turin, and Seabolt getting onto the board, but they will be probably just knocked down as the Pro Tiers drivers come through and set their times. Chris Vickers, driver that we've seen just keep his nose clean and get some good results doing so, going to be 1.1 seconds off the pace at the moment. 205.889 going to be his first lap on the timing sheet. And a big shout out to all our viewers here, of course. You guys, always good to have you here. So if you have questions, you're supporting people in the chat, we will check in with the chat from time to time. Resource Complete and Black Ribbon Simulations, of course, our partners here at Raceface. And it's been a good season so far. So looking forward to the Enduro season kicking off next week. Of course, this will be the end of the split for the Sprint Series. And both the Pro and Pro-Ams rounding things out tonight. And then, of course, the GT3 season that comes here tomorrow then extends in terms of their season for a little bit longer on to next Thursday. So lots of racing still to come before the holidays are upon us. And as we look at the timing sheet, Mornay Deploy now on their 206.117 to get him on to the timing list. To Blanche up there. Muton up there as well. Gian Muton doing a good job in his BMW. Of course, we do know that M6 does have some legs to it. So will be interesting how they go about here on the likes of Paul Ricard, because lots of straight to do so. This Mistral straight that Guillaume finds himself on at the moment is going to be an area where we're going to be able to maybe look at where the slipstream effect comes in, maybe see some of the top end of the cars. But yeah, the BMWs at Monza, it's an M4, sorry, not an M6. I got myself confused. But the M4 comes round and, you know, did well at Monza in some of the Monza rounds that I've seen in other series. So I'm interested to see how they do here. And of course, Deploy and Muton, Berger representing in that lovely M4. I can't believe I called it an M6. I'm a bit disgusted at myself, really. Throw that in the bin for sure. So, of course, GT4s out here and giving us some good racing. See that Sean Skitter from EKZ. He's here as well in that number 313 Audi. Finds himself in the top 10. Turin and Budnick still find themselves in amongst the Pro division. So good job from those guys. Gonna definitely see some promotion and relegations into the next rounds, and hopefully get a more fulfilled Pro field. And obviously drivers driving in the AM Silver and AM Gold divisions for obviously not the GT4s but the GT3s. They're also looking to always improve their racing. So permanently on the hunt for drivers out here at Raceface. If you haven't got involved, of course, there's Discord channel for you guys to follow. And from what Bago ZA points out, yeah, we don't have Mark van Rensburg in the chat, in the server just yet. So That's going to be a little bit dangerous for that championship, because Junior McCall might be able to run away with it. Arno Visahi, he's got third so far in the championship, but this man himself, Junior McCall, he's up with 101 championship points, and it's not going to be enough really for Arno, even if he wins it and Junior doesn't feature. But that's not something that Junior McCall has been doing. He's been putting himself up towards the front, and right now he's up 2/10 of a second coming into Cygnus. Almost said 2/10 of a Cygnus coming into second. So Junior McCall now out through the right-hander of Bousset. Very tricky right-hander, I must add. He's finding time through every apex as he comes out here. He's 4/10 up on his lap times. Of course, half a second on the timing sheets at the moment puts him in second place to start things off. 10 minutes of quali. Can Junior McCall go up into pole? He's looking good to do so. He's finding monsters of time. Yeah, and he's going to put Visahi back 3/10 if he finishes this off. He is going to go up, or doesn't quite round up the 3/10, but good enough for a 10th above Visahi. Junior McCall from ATK Academy goes up into pole position, and the number 144 not even going to retire. So going to continue to attack, try and find some of the grip levels that are going to come as the rest of the field continues to put laps out. An interesting circuit pull, Ricard. Many circuit layouts that are really available to them. And my good friend Ryan Gill not able to join us tonight. And he's always given me some intel, given me some help with the pronunciation of some of the corners. They are, of course, French, and I'm not French. He does it a lot better than I do, so you're going to have to deal with me as he's on a well-deserved little break. But hopefully we'll be able to join for some things in the future again. It was so lovely to have him join us for so much of this GT4 season. And a bit of a pity he can't be here for the final. But Paul Ricard, going to be the battleground our drivers find themselves on. Like I've said at the start, I think that some good racing can come out here. The GT4s have already shown us that some good side-by-sides can happen. But it's all down to those gaps and managing the delta times that you find yourself on. Junior McCall is now second place because, of course, Arno Visahi did set a quicker time on his last lap. It was only 600ths quicker than what Junior did. So Junior looking to find something more on this last attack before we jump down for the rest of the field. Let's see what happens for the shootout. Arno Visahi going to leave the pits, and we're going to see just where Junior puts himself. Needs to find a 10th or more. I think he's invalidated on this lap. He's going to have to give it another slap out there. So Visahi will remain on pole position. Giam Mutzen for KK Racing. What a drive he's had so far in the season. And a good showing at qualifying thus far. Of course, 7 minutes still to go. But third position for him currently, being sub a second with the likes of Visahi and McCall. Definitely nothing to scoff at. Both incredibly quick drivers. Mutzen going to pull over to the side. Mr. Chris Vickers is going to come out and play a little bit more as well. He's in fourth place. He's 1.2 seconds off the pace, but currently finding 4/10 as well. How's it, Alan? In the chat. Shout out to Bega, of course, Sentash, JC Krobler, Bolton, Scouser here, Noah Hendricks. You guys, MVPs, if you guys haven't left a like, please, we appreciate it. If you have left a like, then very much thank you. If you don't like what we're doing, you can leave a dislike. I've seen we've had a couple of those, but it's okay. Likes or dislikes, so engagements, I appreciate it any day of the week. And always good to have you guys out here. Wednesday night racing, wrapping up the GT4 season, and of course the second season that Raceface has hosted. Looking forward to a third season, of course. Lots of successful seasons, and Mr. Chris Vickers not having success out of the end of DuPont, and he will have to dive back into the, did Did he speed into the pit lane there? It looked like he got a warning for speeding in the pits. I'm not quite sure. Does Arne Visaki remain on pole position, or does Junior McCall answer back? He is coming into the final sector. Is Junior McCall? This is where we need to see what happens. Turin, Skitter, Brits, Basson, Hugo, Ritz, Siebold, Samuel, Berger, Wentworth, Pience, Gaber, Malotto, Jethro, Ferreira, and Richardson are the drivers down to position 23. And we've got Cooper and Ryan Ottens here as well. And of course, Fraser Cooper in the championship runnings to take a potential win out here off Bassoon. But we'll have to definitely qualify higher than 24th. Junior McCall does not go faster. Going to go back to the pits. Let's see who else is quicker on their lap. Currently, William Wentworth in that 555. Currently in 17th place overall. But doing decently in his class to be within the top 10. Up 3/10 as he exits DuPont. And down the start finish straight. He revs up his Camaro. And he will improve by 1 position. So Mr. William Wentworth up to 16th place. Let's look at Fraser Cooper, because he's in 24th, which is obviously a non-qualifying position. He hasn't set a lap, but he is in second place in the championship, and he's currently in a good position to get himself up towards the front end of starting near the front end of Pro-Am. But that's not going to be the exit that he needed in that 387, and going to catch a lot of curb out through the exit. And going to have to have another look at that. I think he even got a track cut warning coming through, or maybe invalidated that a little bit earlier. But Fraser Cooper, regardless, 4 minutes 30 on the clock. Let's stay with him for a little bit, because, it's still a battle out in Pro-Am. And for him to be in 24th, Shavesh Bassoon will be loving life seeing that. Jan Als in the chat as well. Good to see all you guys, and looking forward to this. I mean, I think as was pointed out earlier by the likes of Bago, no Mark van Rensburg from Team Hulk. We've got no Morgan here, and we've got no Charles. So for these guys, it's it's not going to be for them to take this. I think Junior McCall, he's going to have a handful of Arno Visaki during the race, because this man not only sets a pole position quali lap, but remains out and keeps trying to get dialed in. A hot lapper was how I first met Arno Visaki. He just had these leaderboard times. But he's since then grown so much in maturity, got that racecraft dialed in, found that consistency that he was always looking to get, and now just a well-rounded driver and good representative of what you want to see in the pro tier. So good to see the number 94. I think in the next season is going to definitely be up towards the battle for taking a win for the races that he's managed to be in and had good rounds. I mean, round 4 and 5 for Arno Visaki were 0 pointers. So ringers in 2 rounds, but third in the championship. You got to realize there's going to be a little bit more coming out. So we're gonna see what Mr. Visaki brings to us during the race. Of course, Quali's been dominant, and Chris Vickers showing that he's 3/10 up. Don't think that's yet going to be good enough to take a 3rd place off of Muton, but Gian Muton still sits in the pits, ready to dive out if he needs to go and have a fight. So we're going to have to see where things go. But for now, Chris Vickers holds down 4th place. He's not up on his lap time at the moment. The only man that is Junior McCall, and I think that's really the battle to keep an eye out on here between Junior and Visaki, because the two of them already 7/10 ahead of the likes of Muton. So it is going to be up to these two to give us a good race up at the front at the moment. No Mark van Rensburg here. No Morgan McCall. No Charles Wilkin. So Arno Visaki and Julian McCall going to be 2 drivers to keep an eye out on. Mistral Straight. Make or break, really. He's got a bit of a toe from a car in front. Might be able to get into that, but as he stands dead on even with his 204.575. RSP TV in the chat. Debbie Smith in the chat. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. Eric Kirstein here as well. Thanks for joining us, fam. Does Junior McCall find something? Does he not? Does he throw it away? Does he hold it? And at the moment, he is finding 10th where you wouldn't expect him to find them. A little bit of an alternate line coming out from him that time around. And a 10th up. This would be good enough to take pole position. 55 seconds on the clock. Versace's in the pits, so if this is good enough to take home, Versace is going to start second. Junior McCall 2 tenths up out of DuPont. This is going to be good enough for pole position out of the young man. The number 144 going to cross the line, go pole with a blistering 204.395. So goes a tenth ahead of Versace with 30 seconds left of quali, and I think that will be good enough to hold it off. Versace not going to go out, can't do anything. Muton's still in the pits. Vickers up on his time and Deploy up on their times. So 4th and 5th now battling it out against one another. They're only a 10th apart, so both Vickers and Deploy currently up on their times. Vickers up 3 tenths, Deploy up 4 tenths, and Deploy obviously a 10th behind Vickers on this lap time. So as things would finish now, Deploy might actually jump Vickers on this final lap. So both of them gonna have to get something in here. Vickers and Deploy almost at the same parts of the circuit. Ooh, Vickers is very wide off. That's not going to be... Vickers going very wide there, invalidating his final lap. Might lose this out to Mornay Deployed. Number 5 gonna come round into the final sector. He's 4 tenths up on his lap time. That's actually gonna be good enough to even jump... is he? No, he's not gonna jump Muton from this position. But he's still got time to make up through DuPont. We saw what... oh, he's lost a lot coming up to DuPont, though, in the exit. A lot of curb being taken. You can't take some in the GT4s, but Deploy throws away half a second on that lap. Will round out behind Vickers and go into 5th place. So, as the session rounds out, that's what we're going to see. McCall, Versace, Muton, and Vickers up there. Deploy into the top 5. The thing's about to get hair-raisingly interesting. And a minute or so on the clock for the drivers. Just get everything dialed in. Of course, a 45-minute sprint race. No mandatory stops coming out. Round 6, grand finale. A little bit of a championship battle. Not going to happen in Pro because Mark van Rensburg isn't here. But the race, nonetheless, could go down between Versace and McCall. And Versace... I mean, does he jump Mark van Rensburg even with a great finish? I think he might. So if Versace wins, things might change up. So stay tuned. 45 minutes of racing. It's going to be a goodie. The grid is lined up. Like I said, just dialing in those final pit strategies. Making sure you don't overfuel. Making sure you don't underfuel. Nothing worse than rolling across the line, and we've definitely seen that happen before, so it's not an unlikely circumstance. It can happen. But as things start, let's go through that top 10. Junior McCall starts in pole, or on pole, in that number 144, and then Arno Versace starts second in the number 94. In the number 13, Giam Muton starts 3rd, 4th for Chris Vickers in the number 79, 5th for Mornay Deploy in the number 5. So number 5's alive, if you ever played that game. Sean Skitter starts 6th in the number 313. Then we've got Chris Budnick in that number 59. He starts 7th. Stephen Tablanche in the number 92 starts 8th. Fraser Cooper in that 387 starts 9th. And that's a massive start for him because this is what he potentially needs in that Pro-Am championship battle. And then 10th, Dominic Turin rounds out the top 10. So 3 Pro-Am drivers getting themselves into the top 10 here. Of course, the Pro and Pro-Am splits combined. And we see Junior McCall departing from the starting grid. And that means that things are about to go live, but not quite live just yet. We've got this warm-up outlap for the drivers to get things up to speed and up to temperature. What you're basically doing here is trying to simulate a little bit of warmth into the tires. It's not the greatest process that's built into the sim, but it keeps the grids honest. It stops people from jumping starts, and that was stuff that was getting abused very early on. Unfortunately, you don't get a lot of tire warmth, and you don't get brake warmth. You don't start with tire blankets like you do in the GT3s anyway. So it's dead cold. You've been sitting. And here at Paul Ricard, of course, plenty of grid space, plenty of racing space. But when you do come down into turn 1, Ferrari, it is a very sharp left-hander, and things can get very bunched up. So drivers got to be aware that the braking point is going to be a little bit different, coming out from what they were used to in their hot lap stints. They've got heavier cars with their fuel loads loaded in. And what a qualifying lap coming out from Julian McCall, really. Did a good job to handle the pressure and find a little bit more. So at the moment, our driver's not doing a lot for our immersion process by driving through one another, but you know, this is where the sim just doesn't want people to have argy-bargies or collisions. You can just see they're trying to get as much warmth into their cars as possible, because the regular formation lap doesn't allow you to get really the speed up there. So they're on the brakes, they're weaving, they're ducking. But I do wish they'd stop driving through each other. I mean, it frustrates me because I like to pretend. I mean, they ghost into one another, and it doesn't happen in the real race, which is good. If they do that in the real race, it's race over for them. So as they come down that Mistral Straight, feels oh so long when they have to do this during that slower formation lap speed. But definitely quite a mixture of manufacturers here today. So once again, the whole season has had some interesting manufacturer battles. Lots of Aston Martin advantages, as you can see on the timing sheets. A couple of BMWs, 2 lonely KTMs. I think the rarest commodity would be the Porsches. I think we've only got 2 of those as well. So KTMs and Porsches, the rare commodities. Quite a few Camaros. Is it only one lonely Mercedes? 2 lonely Mercedes. So Mercedes also not a popular pickup. Jathro and Budnick rocking those. Looking here at Do Gerber in that number 696 team Tryhard Racing BMW M4. Like I said, keep an eye out on these things. They're beasts on the straights. They seem to like the fast circuits. But 2x2, we're lined up. We're getting ready for race formation. Up at the front, Junior McCall alongside Visaki. Mutin and Vickers line up behind them on the second row. Deploy and Skitter then on the third row. All looking to try and find some sort of advantage up towards the start of this race. And as they drag it down here, we are waiting those green lights to go. And there they go. They drop. And the green flags are racing. Good start from Visaki off the line in the KTM. Does he get ahead of McCall down into turn 1? Of course, McCall will have the inside line. Everybody onto the anchors, giving each other some space. We have to watch this. And look at that side-by-side. Visaki and Junior McCall giving us a great battle up at the front. They get through and they make their way down to Lotel. Not going to jump off of these two just yet. Does look like Junior going to get the whole shot eventually as they make their way then out of Lotel into camp. And as things stand, it looks like everybody got an okay, decent-ish start. Bit of a gap coming out between the front 6 drivers, and then it's a whole herd of cars going to go down the Mistral Straight. So let's see how things went. Visaki, obviously in second. Vickers is going to be a big winner there, sticking with these two in third place. John Mutin into fourth. And look at that drag of the Camaro coming down. The number 79 going to challenge the likes of Visaki. The KTM doesn't seem to have the legs coming down into Cygnus. They are going to go. They're not even going to be side by side. Vickers in the Camaro gets the move done. The number 79 goes through, as does Mooten. It looks like Versace running a little bit wide coming through. It's not going to be Mooten just yet coming through. But soon, you can hear yourself say. If he's losing out to Camaros early on, got to be worried about Versace and the race setup in the KTM. He's still got a lot to find though. But the charge from Vickers, I mean, he's definitely gotten past the likes of Versace and now started to close down onto the back of Junior McCall. Down the line, it's got more. We got Mornay deployed in 5th, Steven Tablanche in 6th, Skitter. Very good start from him in the Audi up into 7th place. And holding on, looking to see if he can find some more time to maybe get towards the back of Tablanche. Tablanche has a fair distance to deploy ahead, but looking at the opening lap times, not going to be worth anything, as we need to start to see where they get after settling down. Junior McCall does get a good hole shot off the start and also then extends it in that opening lap. So he will leave the likes of Vickers out through the first sector. It looks like Vickers then going to be careful not to lose out and have to go defensive against Versace. He knows if he stays ahead that he probably has the top end for the Mistral Straight. So anything that he comes into this with is going to be an added advantage. And then we want to see how Mooten does catching down to Versace down the straightaway. Down the order, it looks like Tablanche does have half a second to Skitter. So Skitter is closing down at a good speed at the moment. We'll see if we can get on some splitter cams, see if we can get some sort of sense of what the slipstream effect is like. And it looks like the top end coming out for the Audi here is closing down. Not going to be enough to go alongside before Cygnus. They'll go under the Paul Ricard sign. Oh, late on the brakes goes Skitter. Does force Tablanche to go very wide. This will be the drive that he'll need to go alongside now into be set. Do they keep it neat and tidy? They do. Inside line for Skitter. It's a good line to be on, but a lot of speed can be carried out from Tablanche, so the cutback potential is there. Where does he go on the cutback? Will be forced wide. A second corner here. This left-hander can allow you to cut back as well. And does Tablanche manage to... Oh, he touches the back of Skitter. No, Tablanche. Murder as she wrote. A little tap coming down, and the steward's going to look into that. And Skitter, what an unfortunate scenario there. He was having a good drive coming out, and he's now going to have to just go ultra defensive and try and see what he can retain at the moment. He's down alongside Budnick, trying to hold on to 12th at the moment. Will be on the outside of the number 59, so might be knocked down to 13th after all of this. And Skitter just not in a great place. Pience also then going to be right behind on this. The battle up in Pro-Am has definitely been shifted up too, because Shavesh Bashoon has got himself up towards the front end, and he is leading at the moment in that number 17 Aston Martin for the Pro-Am split. He also leads the championship with 103 championship points. So for him, this is looking good, because his closest rival Fraser Cooper is nowhere to be seen as far as I can see on the timing sheet. So I'm not quite sure what's happened to Cooper, but it seems to be done for him. And I don't know if Budnick could jump Cooper here, because Budnick still having a decent race, currently sitting in 4th place, sits in 3rd in the championship. So he could potentially jump Cooper. But a very good race coming out from Shavesh Bassoon. It's exactly what he wanted. So let's go and see this. Chris Budnick, Ryan Ottens, as well as Sean Skitzer. So it's Sean Skitzer, Chris Budnick, Ottens. I think Pience is getting involved here in that Cayman GT4. Pience is actually going to get alongside Ottens and get through. So Budnick trying to cut through a couple of pro cars here. Might be a good time to get some onboards with Chris Budnick. If you look from his rear wing, you'll see the likes of Darren Pience in that Cayman. So it is time for these guys to show us what it... Oh, GT4 cars. Look how close they can get coming out through DuPont and really starting to reel one another in. So this is exactly what we wanted to see in the mid-pack. It's what we expected to see, really. GT4's here at Paul Ricard. One small mistake and a lot of time gets casted out. You're always pretty much guaranteed of keeping it out of a wall here. But if it does go bad, it can go very bad. Because you are going pretty quick in most of the sections. But recovering and losing time, two different things. So Darren Pience, he's really starting to dial into what Budnick is doing. A little bit of splitter action as we get onto the Mistral Straits. Slipstream here should be enough for Pience to get alongside. Then you have a bit of an awkward entry, so you kind of want to get past and then be able to pull to the left side of the track. But Pience is going to stay in place. Does he come for a bit of a score? Does get past, does come across. Does Budnick try, or doesn't manage to get through? Looks like Artens pulling some moves in the background as well. Sorry, not Artens. Maybe Malortor was making up some positions. I'm not sure, but let's see if it was Gary Richardson. It is Richardson and Malortor. Oh, Richardson going to go very wide. Malortor and just hold his line coming through in that 808. So going to hold on to 15th. Giam under a bit of pressure here from the likes of Deploy. You can start to see the chase is on. Giam Witten, of course, racing here for Kaike, trying to get some points onto the board, accumulate some more, and keep adding to the counter. He's had a good race, finds himself in 5th in Pro, but he is... Oh, look at the pressure coming out here to Blanche. Gonna try and see if he can close down that gap. Splitter View will be able to show us how he catches him down with the slip. But midway into that sector, Deploy had to get onto the brakes, so he lost a lot of speed before entering into this part. So that's probably given Mooten a little bit of the gap that he needs. Talking about gaps, look at Junior McCall up the road. 6.5 seconds over the likes of his closest competitor. Because what has happened to Visaki? As well there. So it's just Mooten up into second and Deploy in third. So Junior definitely not going to have any bother at the moment, because although Mooten and Deploy might have some pace on them, the longer they stay together like this, the longer that they're not going to go. Look at the inside. Deploy going to have a look. The number 13 of Mooten going to be squeezed now to go inside. Big amount of curb. The cutback potential is going to open up, but Deploy can't get onto the hammer fast enough, and Mooten shuts the door. Runs a bit of wide coming in. Maybe could have lost that. And a good defense coming out from the number 13. Just hold him off. But they are going to be costing each other time. And that gap to Junior McCall is going to increase and increase as time goes on. And Mooten, drive-through penalty. Track limits exceeded. And I did not expect to see one so early. So Mooten will be kicking himself. There's no point in him fighting Deploy at this phase may as well hold onto your tire life and tuck into that slipstream, because he's going to have to go in for that drive-through, and that's going to allow to Blanche and Bassoon up. I mean, what a drive coming out from the Pro-Am at number 17. Up into 5th overall, first in class, and leads over the likes of Vasaki. So there's Vasaki. Must have had a big mistake coming into things. And 6th place for him now. So that's going to be a bit of a recovery, a bit of an oof for him to have to make positions back up. And unfortunately, that's sometimes the way the cookie crumbles. Here's Nico Roots in one of the other KTMs on the grid in the Pro-Am division. And currently trying to fight for some overall positions, but at the same time knowing that the Pro tier doesn't need to be wasted. No point in putting 2 cars at risk and just going to allow them through. Does find himself in 3rd at the moment. Does have Budnick a 2nd down the road, so needs to be careful. He does go a little bit wide coming into Beset. And JC says that Vasaki was a victim of a bump draft gone wrong. So some insight comes down. Vasaki licking some wounds. Apparently some bump draft antics going down. Mooten into the pits to serve that drive-through and will lead down positions. And Bassoon gets ever closer to getting onto the podium. Imagine getting onto the overall podium as the Pro-Am car in the grand finale. I think that would be something to take home. Let's not count those chickens before they've hatched, though. Shavesh still 31 minutes to do of this race. It's always hard to lead out a race up the front. Plenty of drivers here to challenge and try and take away your crown. So you're always going to be on your tippy toes, dancing around and making sure that you're ready to shut the door if you need to. And Deploy, promoted up to 2nd, will love that. Now needs to be careful himself that he doesn't get any track limit warnings. The DP Motorsport number 5. Looking oh so glorious down the Mistral Straight. Let's see what's happening down the order. Tsebo Meloto. He's having a little battle himself. I think Gary Richardson in that Cayman. He's closing down. He's putting on a bit of pressure. And Meloto here, he's got Budnick in front of him. So plenty of action coming down. The Porsche behind him looking a little bit scuffed up. Looks like a tatty football that you used to take to school and kick around on the bricks. Been into the wars maybe once or twice, but Gary Richardson still doing a good job to hold on. And up front there, Budnick going to make a move on to Ritz there for Pizzo. Oh, do we catch this? We risk the lag of the custom liveries to come down into the middle of the Mistral Straits. Of course, this is just an action-packed replay. We're going to see what happened here with Nico Roots. Let's go Ellie Cam. And he goes big slide himself through Cygnus. Oh, contact coming out between them. Did look like Budnick may be running a little bit wide coming out, and that will be a retirement from Nico Ritz. He's into the bits. It's done for him. And oh, things just changed up entirely there. Budnick up into 3rd place. Maybe on a bit of a reported incident. We're not sure. We're not stewards. But Chris Budnick there. Didn't look like Ritz was entirely comfortable coming into the corner. But a slight tap comes down. And it does narrow things up then to the likes of Richardson. So Richardson really doesn't want to fight against Meloto here. His fight is really with this number 59 of Chris Budnick. And Chris Budnick then going to go side by side with Piens. Piens losing a little bit of time. So Meloto and Piens. Meloto might have a good drive coming out here. Oh, this is what I like to see at Paul Ricard. Let's go Helicam. Watch this. 3 wide. You could fit 5 cars down here. Mistral Straight. parking for days, and none of them going to be using that slip. Does Malorto tuck back in for the slip? It does look like he is going to try it eventually. Doesn't have the legs in that Aston Martin to hold on, but is going to have to be brave. Does he cut back? He's going to be all over the back end of the likes of Piens, and Budnik gets through that. So now Malorto and Piens on track for position, and they're fighting it out in the pro class, and then Budnik and Richardson on either side of them, in front and behind on the in the pro cars. So, oh, look at that. That's Richardson, I think, letting Piens by. Does he now let Malorto by as well? I'm not sure if he was letting him by. Looked like he made a bit of a braking mistake, but did lose a lot of speed. Doesn't seem to be wanting to let the pros through, and I don't think there's much obligation. I mean, it's just down to whether you want to take that unnecessary battle or you don't. But I think that, of course, Malorto, if we go to his rear wing, you're going to see that Richardson is tucked up on that, and that's potentially what Budnik's really looking at now, going, if I lose out lifting for Malorto now, then Richardson is just going to be able to get onto the loud pedal and take away my potential wins. So, oh, that's a Porsche going wide. Ryan Ottens with a drive-through penalty, up in 8th place. But this is where some of the drivers just taking it easy on the opening laps, going to reap the benefit. He's going to have to go in and serve that out. Malorto past Piens for position. And now we'll still continue to try get past the likes of Richardson. It was Piens that ran wide, I believe. Indeed it was. So all three of them get by. And once again, Malorto stuck in between the two Pro-Am cars. And that's what Budnik would want, you know. But Budnik's like, yeah, this is exactly what I want. But soon, this is a battle for the Pro-Am lead, because Turin has got up there. The number 69 of Dominic Turin in the Camaro wants to stick it to the Aston Martin fans here at the French circuit. Round 6 of the Raceface Grand Finals in the Season 2 of the GT4 Championship. Brought to you by Resource Complete and Black Ribbon Sim. My name is George Smith. I do some broadcasting over here, and appreciate all you guys out in the chat. I haven't been able to catch up with everything, but thank you to all of you guys that have been there. The on-track battles have been too intense. I haven't been looking yet, but we do see you guys here. So, again, thank you for joining us. If you would like to sign up and do the next seasons, definitely I'd open my arms to this. But look at this. Turin on the inside now of Bassoon. Does he go wide? Does he give the space? Will set himself up for the inside line for the exit, which then sets you up for the inside into Lotel, which is not really the line that you want to take through the sweeping right-hander, but they will stay alongside one another, and it's going to be enough for the Camaro of Dominic Turin to get that cutter through. Licks it and sends it and gets the move done. A beautiful bit of driving coming out there from Turin. So just looking back here at Ryan Ottens, hasn't served this drive-through penalty. Probably has another lap or so to do it, or will be serving it this lap. It's always frustrating as a driver. Sometimes just staying out kind of resets you a little bit, gets rid of the frustrations of losing out. So Ryan Ottens will be going in to serve that drive-through. I don't think it's going to be the only drive-through that we see for the rest of the race. I think that a lot of drivers pushing the limits just a little bit and are going to be held accountable a little bit later on. But we have to wait and see when that happens. As things stand, Tony Ryan Ottens at the moment to go through and serve it. We have seen another one pop through, but I do expect a couple more to come as well. Sebo Maloto still in some of these battles. This time now he's with Jam, and Jam has dropped down considerably, of course, down into 10th place. So he'll now be battling out with his boss man, Sebo Maloto himself. It'll be interesting to see. Are there some team orders that come through? Sebo, not one of the drivers or the racing principles that would ever give a driver a discussion or a point to move over for him. Racing is racing. Late on the brakes. Sebo tests the limits. And up to the back of Pierce. He gets very close. And it's actually Mooten that's ahead of him. It was Pierce that he was closing down on. So Maloto not going to need team orders just yet. Gets through Pierce. Now maybe team orders. As Richardson and Pierce go side by side. The Porsche battles. I think Pierce loses the position there. Looking back at this. And he does, indeed. So our race director gives us the halfway mark warning and lets us know that we are now 50% into our grand final. Junior McCall still looking good to take that overall victory, and Shavesh Bassoon also actually looks good to take home the Pro-Am victory for the season in the Sprint Cup. He's second on the leaderboard at the moment in Pro-Am, but his closest rival, Fraser Cooper, nowhere to be seen on the timing sheets. Well, I say that he's down in 22nd place. So things have not worked out for Fraser Cooper. He's down considerable number of laps, 4 laps, as you can see the updates. And it is what it is. Darren Pierce also struggling a little bit. I'm not sure if his setup isn't working for him, but we've seen him go off in a couple of places, so not always been an easy situation for him. But looking for some of the closer battles, Shavesh and Sean Skitter are getting closer to one another. I mean, that's not going to be a position changing class, but it will be an overall position finish overall, so definitely still worth chasing down. Skitter in that 313 from EKZ, chasing down the SB Racing number 17. And of course, SB Racing, Shavesh Bassoon Racing. Team name, team driver, and finds himself at the top of the championship. So, good drive from the number 17. But you can see that the pro driver of Skitter finding a little bit more rhythm as the race progresses. And for Skitter, it's a long way up towards to Blanche, which would be his closest on-track battle for progression. And I'm sure down the Mistral Straight, cheers where the 313 does get past that Aston Martin. We will get to see that drag race between the two to see who's quite on top. A little bit of bonus drag for the Audi, who will be down the inside line as they come into Cygnus. They will stay side by side, in fact, so no yield, no gain. Oh, Skitter manages to hold it off. And Shavesh Bassoon gets very close through the quick right-hander, but not close enough for Skitter not to get the overall position change. No harm, no foul. Budnick still down the road, 5.9 seconds behind the likes of Bassoon. Pierce and Richardson still continue their little Cayman GT4 shootout. The number 171 and number 57. But Darren definitely doesn't seem to be too comfortable at the moment with his setup, that's for sure. So gets past Richardson once again. And we'll continue now to chase down onto Maloto. Lotto was looking good to get up closer to Muton, but Muton has left the 808 and continues up the field. So looking up towards the front of that field, it's Junior McCall that leads us array. And a good showing from the ATK number 144. He just looks so comfortable, doesn't he? I mean, it's almost calm, peaceful, tranquil, angelic. You just got a couple of the rasps coming out from that Mercedes power unit. But other than that, no one in sight for him. Don't know how many of the back markers he's encountered, but a very lonely race up front here for Junior McCall. And very surprised not to see his dad in the chats. Normally would be here cheering them on. But obviously focused on making sure that the boys have their best race session here. We saw Morgan showing some love and support for his brother last week. But Junior showing that he doesn't need the family supports and the cheers in the chat. He's got them around as support for him. And he just continues to put in big lap time after lap time. His last lap, a 206.675, so not the best from him. But certainly enough to just keep that space out from Mornay deploy. So Robert is here, and he's just super nervous at the moment. Junior doing a good job up front, not wanting to put any curses on that for sure. And Versace, I mean, he's had a drive through to make up for that failed bump draft accident. And unfortunately here for Arno Versace, he is going to have quite a journey if he wants to get up to deploy. But finds himself in third, so back into a podium position for himself. We mentioned it before, didn't have all the race finishes in the world during the season. Didn't get the points that he potentially wanted to get. Sorry, we had some new visitors into the comms box for a second there. So I'm not quite sure. I had to hard mute some of that. So we do have some spectators just joining us and seeing how things go here. So apologize for any of those strange audio issues that we just got. Arno Versace, like I said, up in third place. Yeah, it was super super strange. I don't know what just happened there. It kind of threw me off a little bit, but we'll get back into it, and we'll be able to look down the order, because I think the likes of Dirk Haber and Ryan Ottens, these guys are having a little four-way battle. Look at this. Four-way battle. Doe, Ryan Ottens, Batsis, Hugo's in there. I think Russ Seabolt, if I'm not mistaken, in that. Yeah, it is in that 777. So these guys, look at them giving each other the racing that we wanted to see. So we'll look at the battle down for 17th. And it is Ryan Ottens that holds off. It's actually not. It's gonna be changing up, because Dirk Haber, he's lost out to Ryan Ottens. So Ryan Ottens in 17th there. Russ making the moves and getting past the likes of Bertus Hugo in that number 84. But does Bertus let this go later on the brakes into turn 1? Gives himself that inside line, and good driving coming out from both the number 84 and 777. And alongside, they will drag it out down towards Lotel. Battles with the car's length, gets onto the brakes a little bit later, but a lot of curb being taken in is maybe going to give the inside line up but won't for the right-hander, and out through camp as they make their way towards the Mistral Straight, spreading out tiny little bit. Ryan Ottens going to get himself nice little hole shot here away from all the chaos behind him. His rear wing tells that story because Dergaber a distance behind, and then we've got, of course, Bertus, and then behind him we've then got Russ. So Russ going to be sitting in that prime slip, and ooh, look at that slip go down to the right. He will pull and we'll put it onto the inside. 3-6. Oh, Bertus, mistakes have been made, runs quite wide. Bassoon, our championship leader, has got himself a drive-through penalty, and that could change up how things work out. Does that benefit the likes of Cooper? Cooper has been making up laps that he has been behind. He's been putting in some good time, so he's been catching up for sure. We'll have to wait and see if that's going to benefit out. But Bassoon going to jump in. That's going to allow Budnick and Richardson to get through indeed. But things not looking too good. Quinton Samuel running wide is now going to rejoin the circuit. Down to 16th. He will slot in behind Ottens. And Ottens and Mr. William Wentworth having a good drag out in that 555. On the inside they go. And Quinton Samuel here in the 787, he's got a lot to benefit off of Wentworth and Ottens. Definitely a lot of curb to use at Paul Ricard, and the GT4s don't mind using it. So as we get down almost to that closing 10-minute mark for our grand final here. 10 minutes left of racing. Season 2, race 6, almost done and dusted, but the battles continue out. Quinton Samuel in the slip. Ottens trying to shake him off where he can, but not going to be quite enough, I don't think. The 787, does he get close enough to have a look? They're all getting closer to William Wentworth as they go. Do they split William 3 wide? They are going to try go 2 wide. Does the 777 get the cutback, though? I think he does. And now Quinton Samuel on the inside of Ryan Ottens. Good drive coming out from Samuel in through Busset. They go, and it looks like William is going to just be given a little bit of a grace period as those drivers behind him continue to fight it out. Ottens and Ethan trying to just see what they can accomplish together as teammates for Kaike. And they've got William as well in front. So lots of representation from the Kaike boys. Always good to see them filling up the grids. Massive team, massive support. Wide goes the 777. Or sorry, the 787 of Samuel. And this will allow him to then potentially lose out to the likes of Ottens. Or does he make it work and get through the send there? Does this make space for Ethan as well in that number 21? Oh, these two are definitely working well together, because whatever Ottens is doing on the defense, big send comes out from Ethan. He's made a big mistake and he's taken his teammate out. They've pulled a Ferrari, and that is not what they would have wanted to see coming down. And just as I was talking about good teamwork, the commentator's curse comes down, and it's murder on the dance floor. Well, the red and blue Paul Ricard dance floor. But here you can see it. Ryan Ottens in front here, the lead Kaike car. And Ethan onto the brakes, and oh, big send comes across, and they do come to collide. I think Ottens does maintain driving through, but Ethan will be kicking himself for that. Drive-through penalty as well comes through. Cooper with a drive-through. Samuel with a drive-through. Paul Paul Ricard the drive-through circuit. And all of these guys not going to be liking to see where they come up. But it's Bertus, Doe, and Shavesh that now take to the circuit. And it's actually Shavesh just behind them. He's got Malortor. That's the driver that's showing up on the proximity sheet. Malortor trying to make up some positions here in Pro, but caught up amongst a lot of Pro-Am cars. It's going to be hard for him to really make a lot of momentum during the closing 8 minutes. Going to have to try and find something for sure. Arne Visaki up in 3rd place. Still, like I said, big gaps to try and catch down. He's 6 seconds now behind Deploy. 7 minutes left to go of the race. So Deploy, as he makes a big mistake, in a decent and prime place to find himself in 2nd place on the timing sheet. Junior, I mean, 10.387 seconds up on Mornay Deploy. He just keeps on finding. Robert was stressing out in the chat. Robert McCall, of course, Junior's dad, was stressing out just a little bit. No need to stress. The man leads. The man does okay. And right now, in that beautiful ATK custom livery, I think they're all designed by Yellow Designs. I think it's Jonathan Benz. I'm not 100% sure. Could be wrong. But yeah, Yellow Designs. Nice custom liveries. And I really am a fan of what they've done on this Mercedes. Jan is completely right. He's, Arno is working very hard. He's been 2/10 up on the last 3 laps that he's done. That was his quickest lap of the race at 2:05.547 now. So he's making up time. I mean, Deploy also finding that push button though. He's trying to find some time. His last lap at 2:06.63. That's where you see that second come up for Arno. And the quickest lap that Mornay has done is 4/10 slower than Arno. It's almost half a second that Arno could pull on a lap. But of course, longer lap times out here, 2:05 with 6 minutes to go. You calculate plus minus 3-ish minutes left of, or 3 laps left of racing. And half a second a lap's not going to be enough to take a 5-second gap unless Deploy makes a big mistake. So still big work coming out from them. Skitter, what a drive for the EKZ Motorsport team. The number 313. Black Ribbon Sims will be proud. One of our sponsors. We've got 2 sponsors that come out and sponsor both the race and teams, EKZ and Black Ribbon Simulations. And then we've got Resource Complete and the team Try Hard guys. So massive shout out to our sponsors, Resource Complete and Black Ribbon Sims. Thank you for partnering up with us. And of course, the prizes for things are more on the GT3 side of things. But the GT4 leagues, a little bit newer DLC, only season 2, whereas GT3 we well rehearsed, we well into the racing there. So a lot of the top drivers in the GT3s don't even do the GT4 races. They've got other commitments, and for a lot of them they can't kind of commit to doing Wednesdays and Thursdays. So sometimes it's a bit of pick your poison, but we've had some great racing coming out, and it's allowed us to see some new names as well. Looking towards that top 10, Darren Pierce is now into that top 10. And him and Richardson still continue. I mean, they're going to write home about their little battle that they've had. Definitely going to chat in Discord and be like, listen, mate, that was a good race. I enjoyed it. But one giveth, one taketh away. And it's been a knife fight between the two of them down the back of a dark alley, which is actually a well-lit circuit called Paul Ricard. But the two of them, really good driving, really good battle between both Porsches, and I'm sure they'll be chuffed with what they've brought to the table. Just trying to see if we've got any immediate battles that stand out. I think Bassan and Malorto are semi-close. They're 6/10, but it's not quite close enough, or a battle between classes that's worth having a look at. as are Turin and Mutin. Mutin, of course, in Pro, and Turin leading the Pro-Am tier. And that's always a cool split to be in, is leading out Pro-Am and also finding yourself midway into the pack of the pros. So a good drive coming out for the DTR number 69. And I assume that DTR stands for Dominic Turin Racing. You know, so everybody got a team that they represent. Sometimes it's your own team, sometimes it's your own brand. Sometimes that's even more rewarding. Stick it to some of the teams that are bigger out there. Side by side they will go now. And we will have to see if this is going to yield much. Mutin does get past, and it's all okay for Turin, of course. Pro driver coming through. Not a battle you want to take. You write it off and look back. Richardson and Pierce, pretty much the same situation, although they've been racing each other, man. Like, there's no love lost when it comes to... I guess it's like when you see a rare commodity out on the circuit, like you drive, or on the roads. You're driving an old, I don't know, Toyota MR2, right? And you see another Toyota MR2, and you wave to each other. That's kind of how the Cayman brothers feel. Vasaki in the KTM would have waved to his KTM brother, but he's too far away. So these two Cayman boys have definitely not just been racing for position in class, but racing for some pride overall. And it's 2 minutes on the clock. 2 minutes for this man to get himself round one more time. And it's Mornay Deploy in second place. We'll run through the full order when they finish off. We'll just continue to watch this battle, which again, not for division, but Turin and Mutin still staying within arm's reach of one another, still giving us some on track action, which we definitely won't peel away from easily. Let's see where anyone else is close. I mean, the Porsche boys will continue to remain close. Is Bertus closer to anyone? Bassoon closer to Malorto? Not really. Yeah, it's these two. It's these two that really continue to scrap. And maybe we stay with them. So it's only a minute left. Guys, let me do the final little bit of housekeeping before we get down to our final lap with our race leader and wrap things up for the final time. But a massive shout out to Black Ribbon Sims and Resource Complete as Pience sends it down the Mistral Straight for what should be one of the final times, maybe the penultimate lap for these two. And there we get confirmation. Final lap will come out. But a big shout out to Black Ribbon Simulations and Resource Complete for partnering up for us for Season 2 of the Raceface GT4 Championships. Of course, this has been a sprint series, 45-minute races with no mandatory stop. And next week, Wednesday, we deliver the mixed enduro season that starts. That's like something that we decided, shorter GT4 sprint season and then a couple of enduro races with some driver swaps. So that should be interesting. If you guys want to sign up for it, you're still welcome to do that. Completely different to the sprint series and definitely well worth looking. If you guys have enjoyed the stream, please don't forget to leave a cheeky thumbs up and a like and leave a subscribe. It means the world to us, helps us get some visibility, helps us grow the channel. And we've been going from strength to strength. All the subscribers that rain in really does help us just continue to grow, and the Raceface family appreciates it. So if you have a social media out there and you haven't liked any of their social medias, you know, Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, it's all there, Raceface.Pro. And if you want some next level training, Raceface Speed Labs is the same place that you go to get trained up by Bruno Kadili and Jordan Sherritt. They offer some driver training, some good discounts on group classes come through, some good general discounts actually come through. If you are part of the Discord, they always have a little cheeky promo or something like that going down. So Raceface Speed Labs is the place to go. And that's it. Housekeeping done. Junior McCall, final sector here. 10.5 seconds up the road from his closest rival, Mornay Deploy. And it's been a absolutely Brilliant drive from him out through Latour and into DuPont for the final time. Comes the number 144 ATK Academy Mercedes to take the victory here for round 6 and the grand final. He'll also take the championship over Mark van Rensburg. So Junior McCall, the pro victor in the GT4s, and actually takes the crown away from his brother Morgan, who was the Season 1 champion. But either way, dominated out by McCalls for Season 1 and 2. ATK will be absolutely chuffed with the drives coming out from the boys. And he'll go to do some celebratory donuts. Mornay Deploy will cross the line, taking home 2nd place in the race. He was 5th in the championship. I can't give you live maths updates doing the cameras, the comms, and the theory craft behind it. But Mornay Deploy will take home 2nd. 3rd place to Visaki in that KTM. Joins Junior for some celebratory donuts, the number 94. After a bad bump draft, and that was a failed coordinated donut, boys. But yeah, Visaki does take home 3rd place. Steven Blanche 4th. Skitter for EKZ takes home 5th. Mutin for Kaike takes home 6th. 7th overall in 1st in class for Dominic Turin in that number 69. The number 59, Chris Budnick, finishes 7th overall and 2nd in class, or 8th now. I'm not 100% sure. Things have changed up a little bit overall. 9th for Darren Piens. Gary Richardson wraps up the top 10. And let me just pull up the timing sheet for the final time. You can see everything overall. Before we say goodbye for the evening there, you can see it. So after the top 10, Berger, Artens, Brits, Wentworth, Hugo, Bassoon, Malorto, Gabba. I think Bassoon actually takes the championship in the Pro-Am tier. So we just have to confirm all of these. It's all going to be in the Discord to confirm it. But I do think that Bassoon takes the Pro-Am victory. Massive victory overall for sim racing. It was good fun to be here.
Green light. Show them what you got.
Couldn't have asked for a better race, really, and a better final round. So, guys, thank you for joining us here at Raceface. If you have liked what you've seen, we'll be back here for the GT3s tomorrow at Paul Ricard. But what a great GT4 sprint season it has been. My name is George Smith. I've been your broadcaster and commentator for the evening. It has been great to be here with you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.
I don't wanna fight anymore. Just turn around and leave me. That tear in my eye drops on the floor alongside my speech.